Good evening. Here is your host Gad Harel. We are here on City Studios in Tel Aviv, and we're on the show A View from Israel. And I'm so glad to have with me my good friend, a real character, one of the best spokesmen for the Israeli media, Dr. Raanan Gissin.
Hello, God.
Raanan.
How are you? Good evening.
And you okay?
I'm okay, yeah.
Thank you very much. Working hard these days.
Well, it's always working hard and trying to explain Israel. You know, in the Webster Dictionary, there's no equivalent to the word hasbara. It's, because Israel is probably the only country in the world that needs to explain why it exists.
Yeah, but it's so true. There's any word that we can say hasbara?
Well, I think
in English, I always ask myself.
Maybe public diplomacy, maybe information, but it's more like public diplomacy. Actually.
It's not explaining. It's
right,
just
but the uniqueness of Israel's public diplomacy is really what I pointed out before: is that you have to explain why you exist. The perennial question, whether it's an interview on Al Jazeera or CNN, always, it's a sort of an insinuation. It doesn't come out in the same word. But why are you here in the first place causing so much trouble? Without you, the world would be a safer place, a better place to live in. That's
without
the image.
us, without
that's it. You're causing trouble. Yeah, you're
causing trouble.
trouble.
Uh-huh.
And,
so what do you respond to that?
And not only causing trouble, but why are you here? You stole the land from the Palestinians. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, here you have to start from basic with a shock treatment, actually. Mm-hmm. But I would preface that and say, first of all, when you speak to your interviewer, you be gentle with him, but be very assertive. Mm-hmm. And very strong when you speak to the camera.
Right.
And you have to start from basic. Basic is our rights, not our security, but our basic rights. We were here before, we were the original Aborigines. This is our birthright to be here. We were born here. The Arabs came later. We didn't steal the land. It's our land. Now let's talk.
But what would you say, Dr. Gissin, to people that say, there's some critics in Israel of Hasbara, they say the best Hasbara is to change our policy, for example. There's no way to explain or to do Hasbara.
If only by changing the policy unilaterally we could bring peace to the Middle East. We've done it a long time ago. By the way, there have been efforts unilaterally to change the policy. Yeah. But it takes two to tango here, or at least two, more than that, because you also have the larger Arab world, the Muslim world, and Israel is in the news. As one lady once told me, I asked her, why are you criticizing Israel so much when you don't even know where Israel is? And she said, well, I know where Israel is.
Israel's in the news.
In the news all the time, not located in some geographical coordinates or in a geopolitical setting, but in the news. Exactly. I think this is the purpose of a program like the one that you're initiating. It's really to show the other side of the Israeli story. Because what you can sell is not the truth, not history. You can sell a story. And that's what the Palestinians were doing. They were selling their story. They were selling their narrative, which is the Palestinians have been occupied, the Nakba, the big disaster when Israel happened. And the whole story is focused on that with ignoring the rest of the world.
And I think it's very important because many people, especially in America and Europe, they don't know what's really going on in Israel. They only see it in the news. They see 1 minute in the news.
Yeah, we have many more channels today to approach people. We can do it on a television program. We can put that program on the web, on the internet, and get the message across to other people. But this is require a very, I would say, concerted effort and support from the government and really go on the offensive. And I'm not saying offensive in the sense of being aggressive. But asserting yourself.
Do you think it has to be a government effort, not a private one?
I think the government has to help with invisible hands, but it has to be private. Part of the public policy must be privatized.
Okay, we hope we can do it. But let's go for another question that interests me. You, of course, you're an advisor to Prime Minister Sharon and very close to him. I see all the time that the press is attacking him, even with his situation. His sons all the time. Just 2 days ago, I saw a story about Gilad Sharon, some 18 million. What do you think about that?
Sharon was always, I'd say, a microcosmos of what Israel is, in a sense, a story. When he wasn't in power, or when he was a general, the story of crossing the Suez Canal, always a story. When he became prime minister, he became the story of Israel. Why? Because as a news story, the fact that he changed his opinion, he did the disengagement, that was news. So he was in the news. Then, of course, 4 years ago, regrettably and unfortunately, he suffered a stroke and he slipped into a coma.
By the way, the situation is the same, I understand.
The fourth year. But, people, when it comes to the fourth anniversary, the news, again, goes back to the Sharon story. Now, every year you can't tell the same story, so you're looking for different angles.
So many books.
So you have a story about the Gilad Sharon dealings and Omri and other, and you put them because that's part of the Sharon story. Sharon is another aspect of the Israeli story, a very interesting one. And if you recall, when he reached power, you know how the whole media was after him because the warrior has changed into a peacemaker or something. And this is what makes news: the contrast, the unexpected. And I think in this respect, Sharon, like Israel, is news. What we must try is to rotate the metrics to show other aspects of this story, so that people will get a different view of what they have today of Israel.
Okay, in this sense, we can conclude our interview. We don't have more time, and I thank you for your wisdom and your good report.
And I want to encourage you and thank you for inviting me to this program, and I promise you I will be very happy to continue to contribute to this effort, because I think we really need a TV program that shows the other side of the Israeli news story.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gissin, and thank you very much for our viewers, and we'll meet next time. Shalom from Tel Aviv. Goodbye.